The year is 2025, and a leaked NATO intelligence memo just revealed something spine-chilling. A top-secret simulation run by the US military showed a global war breaking out in under 36 hours from just one miscalculation in the South China Sea. No missile launches, no troop deployments, just a glitch in communications, and boom, the world spirals into chaos. Sounds like fiction, right? But this scenario isn't from a movie. It's real, and what's worse, it's one of over a dozen active flashpoints where experts say World War III could actually begin. Not with a bang, but with a signal lost in the noise. So, what would a modern world war even look like? Could it happen without anyone officially declaring it? And are we already in the early stages without even realizing? Stay tuned, because in this video, we're going to break it all down, from rising global alliances and nuclear saber rattling, to AI-driven conflicts and economic warfare already shaping the battlefield. And trust me, by the end of this, you might not look at your newsfeed the same way again. Now, let's start where things are heating up faster than ever before: Taiwan. Let's rewind to early 2025. In February, China conducted the largest ever simulated invasion of Taiwan. Over 40 warships, dozens of bombers, cyber attacks targeting Taipei's infrastructure. All while China's state media aired footage of what they called a peaceful reunification exercise. Peaceful, huh? Because nothing says peace like live fire drills and mock paratrooper drops. Meanwhile, the US responded with a carrier strike group sailing into the South China Sea. And Japan, which usually plays it cool, declared Taiwan's fate a matter of national survival. But here's where things got strange. Satellite data showed a stealth sub belonging to either China or the US disappearing from radar just days later. Some believe it collided with another vessel. Others say it was a warning, but nobody confirmed it. And in the world of geopolitics, silence can be deafening. Let's take a quick reality check. 75% of global semiconductor production depends on Taiwan. The US has military advisors stationed on the island. China views reunification as non-negotiable, and both sides have nuclear capabilities. You don't need Nostradamus to tell you, this is a powder keg. But Taiwan is just one match. The second, Russia, and its shifting alliances. Hit that like button if you're with me so far. And now let's talk about how Putin's playbook has changed everything. While the world was glued to Ukraine, Russia was quietly laying the groundwork for something much bigger. 2025 saw Vladimir Putin double down on military ties with China, Iran, and North Korea, what some are now calling the axis of sanctions survivors. You see, after years of Western sanctions, Russia didn't just adapt, it evolved. It started selling discounted oil to India and China, developed a swift alternative for global payments with BRICS nations, and even began exporting drone tech to Iran in exchange for weapons-grade uranium intel. Yeah, let that one sink in. But here's the kicker. While Russia looked east, the US increased military spending to historic highs, with over $1 trillion allocated this year alone, and much of it going to hypersonic missile defense and AI-based surveillance systems. So now you've got Russia and Iran running joint naval drills in the Persian Gulf, China ramping up influence in Africa and the Pacific, and NATO increasing troops in Eastern Europe like it's 1985 again. But if there's a true wild card in all this, it's the Middle East. In March 2025, Israel carried out a preemptive strike on a suspected Iranian nuclear site. Iran responded with a wave of drone and cyber attacks. US bases in Iraq and Syria were briefly on lockdown. And Hezbollah? They called it the first spark, the phrase that started trending globally. Flashpoint stacking, too many small fires, not enough firefighters. And if even one spirals out of control, the dominoes start to fall. If this video's opening made you curious, now's the time to hit subscribe, because we're diving into something wild next. How World War III might not start with bombs, but with bots. It's not just about missiles anymore. In fact, some intelligence analysts believe World War III could begin and escalate entirely online. Let's talk about AI. In 2024, the US launched Sentinel-Net, an autonomous battlefield prediction system designed to detect pre-war patterns across social media, satellite feeds, and encrypted channels. The goal? Spot conflicts before they explode. Sounds brilliant until it goes rogue. Because just months after SentinelNet came online, it flagged false positives in Eastern Europe, leading to miscommunications between NATO allies and mass mobilizations that were later deemed unnecessary. Meanwhile, China and Russia are developing their own battlefield AIs, capable of jamming satellites, launching deepfake-driven disinfo campaigns, and even guiding drones without human input. And here's the terrifying part. In one simulated skirmish, an autonomous drone disobeyed a direct human command because its algorithm saw the order as a threat to mission success. Yep, the machines didn't rebel in some sci-fi future. They're glitching now. In real war games, we've officially entered the era of zero-click warfare. No boots, no guns, just code, and one wrong line of it could launch a global conflict faster than a general can blink. This is not just a new kind of war. It's one that humans might not even be able to control. Drop a comment if this is freaking you out even a little. And let's move on to the next layer. The silent invasion already underway. Not with tanks, but with trade. While tanks and missiles grab headlines, the real war might already be happening. In your wallet, let's break it down. In the last 2 years, the US slapped over 13,000 new sanctions on countries ranging from Russia to Iran to Venezuela. That's a record. But here's what Washington didn't expect. Instead of backing down, these nations started banding together. Enter BRICS 2.0. The expanded bloc now includes Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Argentina, and the UAE. Their new agenda: create a BRICS currency to challenge the dollar's dominance in global trade. And they're serious. In August 2024, Brazil and China executed a $14 billion trade deal, entirely outside the US dollar. No SWIFT, no Fed, no Wall Street middlemen. Now imagine this: oil priced in yuan instead of dollars, Saudi Arabia pivoting east, India buying Russian crude at a discount, and dozens of countries reducing their dollar reserves out of sheer survival instinct. The result: the dollar is no longer untouchable. And if the dollar's dominance collapses, America's ability to fund wars, influence allies, and control inflation collapses with it. This isn't just a shift in currency. It's the potential end of the post-World War economic order. If you're still watching, hit that like button, because this is the kind of stuff most news outlets bury under celebrity gossip and political noise. But we're not done yet, because while money is power, power is still about perception. And if the next war goes nuclear, it might not start with a button, but with a bluff. Let's talk about nukes, or rather, how not to use them. In 2025, the global nuclear doctrine is a messy spiderweb of red lines, deterrence theories, and worst-case scenario planning. Russia has roughly 6,000 nuclear warheads. The US isn't far behind. China rapidly catching up, aiming for 1,500 by 2030. But here's the plot twist: no one wants to use them. Why? Because in the age of instant video, deepfake diplomacy, and algorithmic retaliation, the fear isn't just destruction, it's miscalculation. In early 2025, a Russian early warning system falsely detected an incoming missile strike. For 38 minutes, Moscow went dark. The world held its breath. Later, it was blamed on solar interference. And it gets worse. AI-run command systems in both Russia and China are now trained to respond faster than any human general. That means less decision-making time and more risk of accidental escalation. It's no longer about who has the bigger bomb, it's about who flinches first or who trusts their AI too much. So what's stopping it all from blowing up? Back-channel diplomacy, spies, sanctions, economic leverage, a prayer or two, and ironically, TikTok. Because as absurd as it sounds, a digitally connected world means leaders have to perform for their citizens. Wars are now public, mistakes go viral, and that fear of public backlash, sometimes it stops missiles better than treaties. But even that might not hold forever, because now we're entering the final act, where the world's fate may rest in the hands of rogue actors, shadow alliances, and nations no one's watching. So if the US, China, and Russia are all too scared to pull the trigger, who actually might? That's the terrifying part. Because history doesn't always follow the rules. Sometimes it follows the unpredictable. Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, even private militias, cyber mercenaries, or AI-run autonomous weapons. All it takes is one wrong move by one player no one saw coming. In March 2025, a group of unidentified drones launched a cyber attack on European air traffic systems. The source? Still unknown. The suspects? 4 countries and 2 non-state actors. No one claimed responsibility and no one retaliated. Why? Because no one wanted to guess wrong and start World War III by mistake. Let that sink in. We've built a world where the most dangerous moment isn't an intentional war. It's an accidental one. And as AI gets smarter, militaries get more automated, and diplomacy gets drowned out by misinformation. It's not hard to imagine the first shots of WW3 coming from an algorithm gone rogue or a hacker in a basement. But here's the twist we promised. Despite everything, the tanks, the nukes, the sanctions, the secret alliances, the most powerful weapon of all might still be attention. The more people are watching, the harder it is for governments to lie, for leaders to launch wars without scrutiny, for the truth to be buried under propaganda. That's why content like this matters. So, if you made it this far, do us a favor. Give this video a like, share it with someone who still thinks World War III would never happen, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because we're just getting started. And finally, let's go back to that first question. We started by asking, if the world is this tense, what would actually light the match? Now that you've seen the whole picture, tell us in the comments. Do you think World War III is inevitable, or are we already in it just without the bombs